Hi, so first a little Hyperopia update, then I'm going to be discussing bifocals. So Thursday I absolutely couldn't sleep, so one of my little tricks is to sleep on a hard surface. So I took myself off to the sofa and I had a bit of backache as well, so that helped out with that. And when I got up, I was definitely consistently a 4.5, basically quite up till certainly when I got into work. And that's because hyperopia, the way it develops, if you're overusing your eye muscles, other muscles in your body will be imbalanced, because you'll be maintaining odd postures to try and maintain binocular vision and so on and so forth. So yeah, I mean, if I slept on the sofa more often, I think the actual hyperopia might come through a bit more quickly. So actually, maybe I should do that. So we had to clean something, and it was like about here. And whereas before I'd have been able to do it, I was over accommodating. It was hurting. That was a bit of a new one for me, really. So I had to run and fetch my +6s. These aren't them, but just meaning I had to fetch another pair of glasses at a higher strength so that I could do the close work and be comfortable and not be straining my eyes like that. I mean, there's been another couple of instances of when I've just happened to look down at something and it will actually fuzz out on me because my eyes start relaxing. So that is kind of good. And you might be asking, how can it be good to be getting more long-sighted? And the reason is, I'm trying to reach whatever my natural eyesight is so that my eyes will stabilize and I can have one pair of glasses. Well, it won't be one because obviously, you get to a point where you are going to use more than one pair at a certain age. So, maybe one for distance, one for reading. So maybe. Which brings me on to my second subject. So this came about because I had... Oh, where's a computer when you want one? So I had the computer on my lap like this. It was raised up a little bit on one of those computer cushions, but it's still not ideal, obviously, to sit like this and read. But I just wanted to go through stuff quickly. And I do the flipper when I'm looking at the computer, and I do come to a point where I kind of push it further away. And I was doing quite well, but one thing I kind of noticed, you know, I was starting to get a bit uncomfortable, and because I have been doing quite well, as in keeping the eyes reasonably balanced and making sure I'm using the bottom half of the glasses, so learning to dip my eyes, I thought, well, let's just keep looking at it as I would normally look at it, and see what happens, see what is going on, and why I seem to be tilting a bit. So here is the picture of what was really happening, and I found that, you know, my right eye was looking fairly normally, but my left eye, I wasn't quite getting the muscular control here, and I think I was trying to pull the eye in a little bit, but what was happening was my gaze was drifting towards this corner of the computer here. So that was actually good to sort of realise, so that's what's happening. And I'm not quite aware of, when I'm looking at something, I haven't got total awareness of the muscles that I'm using, or it's hard to keep track of them. So my right eye is doing the right thing when it dips, so it kind of feels like it goes that way, whereas the left eye, I'm trying to make it go that way, and that's the wrong thing to do. So I need to make both eyes, as it were, not that I need to make the eyes go that way, obviously, but my gaze sort of just falls that way, and then the muscle will move the eye inwards. So there'll be a slight raising of the bottom eyelid here, a slight crease there, and it should be directed, my gaze should excuse me, then be directed centrally. So onto bifocals. Here's one I made earlier. These are my 5.5 reading glasses. So that means that they've got a slightly smaller pupillary distance. And this is kind of a D bifocal, so you're only looking through a really quite small part of the glass with these type of, I mean, it's a very common type of bifocal. And the reason I've obscured the rest of the glasses, now these are not bifocals, I've just put the bifocal shape on the bottom. So this is where my left eye would be looking through it. And it's just to give my eye a little bit of a prompt when I'm using them for the computer, just to encourage the muscles to do the right thing. So if I pop them on, I used them this morning, and I found it was actually quite helpful. It seems I need to do quite a bit of work. Well, I won't say quite a bit, but it does need a little bit of work to just to prompt it, to kickstart it into action. So it's just to train the left eye to look through the right part of the glasses, the right eye is already doing it anyway, so if I'm going to look down here like this, already having this bit covered, it cuts out a lot of confusion. So that's a little bit of a help. I mean, mostly I'm using a flipper, but sometimes I'm just putting these on if I feel ready for it. So I have this as an extra helper. So yeah, that's fuck, that's nasty. Yeah, that's kind of how the last few days have been. So yeah, we'll see what happens next, and I'll be back with another progress report in a few days.